Alright, today we're pitting two heavyweights, the Roomba 980 and the POWERbot R9350. These are the two top of the line robot vacuums out from Roomba and Samsung. So we're going to go through a lot of different things in this review. I would recommend staying for the end, the review section, where I go over all the different reviews of these, whatever is good or bad. There are some things to note with that. So let's get started. First round is list price. The Roomba 980 is $899. The actual sale price is about $877. The POWERbot is $1,199 list and sells for about $899. So pretty much the same. They both have a 1-year limited warranty. With the Roomba, it's important to buy from a verified vendor. The links in the description are to the official Amazon listings for both of these vacuums. All right, moving on to features and starting with navigation. Both the Roomba 980 and the POWERbot 9350 are using cameras to map out your house. This is opposed to the previous generations of robot vacuums that were more or less random in their approach to cleaning. So both of these vacuums take a more or less systematic approach and basically straight lines to clean your house once they have it mapped. As far as the sensor technology, the Samsung is using what they call a full view sensor. So it has cameras on the front of the unit that are basically detecting obstacles ahead of time and avoiding running into them, although it does have some trouble with objects that are black and running into those. Whereas the Roomba 980 uses the traditional physical sensors where it needs to kind of bump into an object to know that it's there. With the cleaning system itself, the Roomba 980 is using the Aeroforce cleaning system with Power Boost. So it's got a dual brush design in the middle of the unit, a brush roll, and then also an edge sweeping brush which basically sweeps debris from corners to the brush roll. It's a very powerful vacuum. They claim it is 10 times more powerful than the early generations, such as the 600 or 700 series, and it's 5 times more powerful than even the previous generation of Roomba. So they've put a lot of effort into giving it a lot of suction. The Power Boost idea is that it can sense when it's going into carpet, so it ramps up the suction power. It does get a little bit louder when it does that, but it can sense when it's going over carpet. On the Samsung side, it's using a combo brush roll. This is a 12.2-inch brush roll that's designed to be particularly good for pet hair, though I assume it would be good on just about anything. It also has a ton of suction. It's got 70 times more suction than the early generations of the Samsung POWERbot. It's hard to compare apples and oranges about which has more suction because they don't compare against one another, but it would seem because of the Samsung's new digital inverter technology that it probably has a little bit more suction, but I can't be absolutely sure of that. In terms of the edge cleaning, the Samsung POWERbot does not need an edge brush because it's kind of shaped to get into corners with the brush roll. It also has an edge cleaning technology, which we'll talk about in a minute. The Samsung POWERbot has a few other cool features. They have the point cleaning technology where if you point a laser near a particular mess, it will follow that laser and clean that area. In addition, it has a really unique edge cleaning system where this little plank comes down and pulls dirt from the very corners of a room. It has what they call 2.2 Easy Pass, which is a higher profile and different kind of wheels in order to do better with dealing with cords. Both of these vacuums have Wi-Fi capability. They have an app where you can schedule cleanings or get updates remotely with your phone. They both can be connected to either Alexa or Google Assistant devices. With the Samsung POWERbot, I should note that a lot of people had trouble if they had iPhones or iOS devices, particularly with setup and some other issues. Also, a lot of people reported that the function with the POWERbot that you could kind of schedule the vacuum to vacuum only particular rooms in your house, that function wasn't doing very well. Those are all software issues that Samsung may or may not get figured out in the future. As far as barricades keeping the Roomba out of certain areas, the Roomba 980 does it really well with virtual wall barriers. You get two of these little battery-powered units that basically send a signal for the Roomba not to enter certain areas. With the POWERbot, you get basically magnetic tape, and reviews seem to suggest this has dubious effectiveness at best. So if you're concerned about the Roomba going into certain places where you just can't shut a door or whatever, that might be a concern. Finishing up with features are a lot of things they have in common. They both automatically recharge and then resume their task when their battery runs low. They both have some kind of edge sweeping technology. They both have some kind of detangling technology. They both have cliff detection, so they're not just going to jump off your stairs. You don't have to put up the barricades for that. They both have a bin full indicator and some kind of dirt spotting technology where they claim to be able to see particularly messy areas of the floor. So I think you have to give this round to the Samsung. Although they are pretty close in terms of navigation and cleaning system, the Samsung seems to have a little bit better sensor technology, maybe just a little bit of edge on cleaning, and a ton of extra features that seem pretty useful. Moving on to specifications, the Roomba is a little lighter at 8.7 pounds than the Samsung, which weighs in at 10.8 pounds. The cleaning time or battery life for the Roomba is also a little bit better at 120 minutes than the Samsung, which comes in at 90 minutes. Both of those times vary greatly depending on the level that you have the vacuum set at. So for example, with the Samsung, you can actually set low, medium, or high in terms of its power. If you have it on high, that 90 minutes drops to 30 minutes of cleaning time. Similarly with the Roomba, if you have a lot of carpet, so it's in carpet boost mode, that 120 minutes will be reduced greatly as well. The height, the Roomba has a much lower profile at 3.6 inches than the Samsung, which comes in at 5.3 inches. So if it's important for you for the vacuum to get under things and have a lower profile, then the Roomba is definitely smaller. The bin size, which is pretty important, is not that much difference. The Samsung does have a bigger bin at 0.7 liters than the Roomba, which is 0.6 liters. Most people seem to think the bin size on these are kind of small. You do have to empty them out quite frequently. So if you have a big house and you schedule cleaning while you're away, it probably won't get much done because eventually we'll have to have the bin emptied out. So that's it for specifications. I think you have to give this one to the Roomba 980. It's lighter, it has more battery life, and a lower profile. All right, the final round is reviews. I went through a ton of reviews on a lot of different sites to try to find common issues that came up that were probably actual issues, whether they be good or bad. So first with the pros, both of these vacuums were praised for the new navigation ability with the cameras and mapping out your house. Once they got it figured out, once they actually mapped out the house, most people were very pleased with that. Also with the cleaning power and the suction ability of both of these vacuums, they're both top of the line from Roomba and Samsung and are meant to be very good at cleaning, and they did that for the most part. People were generally pleased with the way that they cleaned. The negatives, there were a few negatives that they both had, and they're pretty typical of robot vacuums. For example, they had trouble getting back to the dock. Now, you read this negative review with both of these, and some of it can be that people aren't reading the manual. You need to put the dock on a flat surface like hardwood or something flat and hard in order for it to find the dock. Also, if people actually physically move the vacuum while it's cleaning, it can get lost and not find its way back to the dock. There are probably other issues where it's not getting back to the dock as well, but both of those had that mentioned a number of times in their reviews. They both also had trouble with the color black. This is because of their optical sensors seeing black rugs or black carpet as essentially cliffs. So both of them had that to mention. And they both were said to be pretty loud. Now, at least with the Samsung, you can turn it into low mode and make it a lot quieter. But they're both like as loud as an upright kind of vacuum. All right, the specific cons is where it gets kind of interesting. I mentioned that with the Samsung POWERbot, people were generally dissatisfied with the app and software, especially if they had an iPhone. They had just had trouble connecting it to the Wi-Fi and other issues that came up. A lot of people eventually did get it to work, but and also pretty much everybody, whether iPhone or not, had trouble with the feature on the Samsung in which you could schedule it to clean certain rooms. I just wanted to clean this hallway, or I just wanted to clean this bathroom. That just did not seem to work well, that feature. But in addition to that, it was just a really strange experience reading the reviews for the POWERbot 9350 because it seemed about 5% of the time it was like people were reviewing a different vacuum, a vacuum that did not navigate well, a vacuum that bumped into things, a vacuum that did not clean well. And it was almost like they were writing a review for a completely different product that the other people were reviewing. And I think, I don't know what that is. It could be a number of things. It could be like a 5% lemon rate, or it could be that occasionally that it's really important for people to follow the instructions in terms of the initial mapping out and the initial things you need to do. It could be any number of things that are going on there, but it's definitely worth noting. The software issues and that 5% definitely hurt the POWERbot rating on Amazon. It is 3.3 to the Roomba 980's 4.2. So I think you have to give this round to the Roomba 980, which means that the Roomba 980 won our little competition here. But I would say that based on the really cool features of the Samsung POWERbot, the way that it cleans, and just about everything else, if you did not have an iPhone, I would recommend the Samsung over the Roomba. But that's just my opinion, and thank you for watching. Links in the description to the official Amazon links.